Alright guys, today I'm going to make a special video regarding wrestling, and that is the greatest national championship class of all time. And I think the 2021 class is the best of all time. I'm making this video because in 2 weeks we're going to have brand new national champions. We're going to see some amazing history happen if all goes well. But today I'm going to go over the class that I think cannot be topped here soon. So let's start with the bottom left. Bottom left is three-time national champion Spencer Lee. At this time, he won his third national title. He was going to go on to win his fourth the very next year, but it turns out he never won his fourth. He actually missed the next year because he got injured, and then the following year in 2023, he got pinned by Matt Ramos in the semis. But nonetheless, Spencer Lee, up to his third NCAA title, he got famous for saying excuses are for wusses. He was one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant, 125-pound wrestler of all time. I believe he's a two-time Hodge winner. He went on to go win an Olympic silver medalist after so many years on not competing in the international scene. The year that he did, he got silver, almost got a gold on his first attempt. Incredible. So, next up, we have 133 Roman Bravo Young. He is an Olympian representing Mexico. He was a three-time finalist, two-time division champ. In this picture, he won his first title, but he went on to do so many great things the 2 seasons afterwards. He was on a 56-match win streak, and everyone thought he was going to three-peat. Everyone thought Penn State was going to make history that year by having even more national champions. I believe it was 2023, but they came up short with RBY. But even then, he wrestled amazing for those 3 years in the 2020 era after COVID for Penn State. Amazing wrestler, did well in the international scene. Recently faced Spencer Lee in a sick match. If you've seen that video in Flow Wrestling, they had a great soundtrack for that match. It was great. So shout out to RBY. GOAT 133 of Penn State, that's for sure. Nick Lee, I think he's the GOAT of the 141 for Penn State as well. He won back-to-back championships. In this picture, he won his first. He's one of the most dominant 141-pounders in recent history. Whenever I think of this guy, I think nobody could beat him. Even though he's not a four-timer, it feels like he's a four-timer just based on the way he wrestles, based on his resume, based on his capabilities. Like in the Olympic trials, he beat Aliris, who was on a hot streak. Everyone thought he was going to be representing USA, but he edged him out by 1 point. Well, 2 points technically, but edged him out in that semis, I believe, and then almost beat Zane Rutherford to go on and represent USA at the Olympics. But and he's beat Yanni Yakumahalis, a 4-time national champion. So Nick Lee, shout out to Nick Lee. He's a coach now for Penn State. He hasn't done much in the international scene since then, but he's still very capable and can win against almost any 141-pounder in the world. Next up, we have the 149-pound champion of this year, Austin O'Connor. He is a two-weight national champion for UNC. So in this year, this is the year that Yanni and Cornell, all those teams, decided to not compete in the NCAAs because of COVID. So this was the opportunity for Austin O'Connor to show out and take the empty throne because Yanni wasn't there to defend it. And Austin O'Connor beat Sammy Sasso, who was a 2-time finalist. Austin O'Connor won that championship, and then he didn't even go back-to-back. He won his sophomore year. I believe this was his sophomore year, and then won his senior year. So he had gaps between his championship runs, which is very interesting, especially for a two-time champ. Two-time champs usually win back-to-back, as you can see with RBY and Nick Lee, but O'Connor had gaps in his championship runs. So, I forgot to mention, Austin O'Connor in his second title at 157, he moved up. He beat Levi Haynes in the most dominant fashion ever, rode him out. Levi Haynes looked like he wasn't even deserving to be in that match. Of course he deserved it, but there was levels to it that year. O'Connor just ragdolled him and beat him soundly. So shout out to O'Connor, two-time national champion for UNC. And actually, now that I mentioned about the gaps, the next guy, his name has a reputation that goes beyond the titles. The titles don't define his resume. His name and what he's done outshines the titles, in my opinion, and that's David Carr. David Carr, his father was three-time champ, but David Carr, the one that we're looking at the picture, he was a two-time champion. And what's interesting about his legacy as a collegiate wrestler is I believe he won his freshman year. Not his true freshman year, because I think that was the COVID year. But I think his, free freshman year, 2021, which is this picture, he won the national title. And then he didn't win the title until like 3 years later. So he won it his freshman year and then he won it his senior year. That's an interesting combination of winning your titles. You were the best when you were fresh. And you couldn't win it again till you were the oldest and the wisest of your class. So that's interesting. And he had to go through very tough opposition. He had to beat another guy who's in this picture to get to a finals appearance that he lost, which was Shane Griffin. The following year, I believe in 2022, Carr beat Shane Griffin in the quarters or something along those lines. It was a tight match. And Carr eventually went to go face Keegan O'Toole, who won 2 titles in those 2 years that David Carr did not win any titles. But they were in different weight classes, but still. David Carr went to beat Shane Griffith, Keegan O'Toole, and Mitchell Messenbrink. He beat Mitchell Messenbrink in his last collegiate match. And, guys, that might be the greatest win of David Carr's career because it's aging better than any win in history, because Mitchell Messerbrink only has 1 career loss, and he's known as the guy to tech everybody, bonus points. He's probably the most dominant wrestler in college right now, and he's only in his sophomore redshirt season, and he's looking like the best out there. And Mitchell Messerbrink looks like he's going to be a 3-timer because that weight class that he's at, it's not saying that it's weak, but there's no other guys that are NCAA championship caliber like a David Carr or Austin O'Connor or Shane Griffin. So Messenbrink is a class of his own, and David Carr got him. Only career loss for Messenbrink, and that's David Carr. So shout out David Carr. Oh, and he recently beat, I'm not going to include this I'll include it. He recently beat 2024 74 kg Olympic silver medalist of Japan in a freestyle match that was hosted in Iowa. So David Carr is he didn't qualify. He was injured, I believe, and he couldn't go to the trials. But if he had, I think he could have possibly beaten Kyle Dake. I think David Carr's style is made to beat Kyle Dake. I'm not sure about Jordan Burroughs because they're very similar, and I think Jordan would maybe out-muscle him or out-experience him. But against a Kyle Dake, he would wreck him. He would wreck Kyle Dake because he's basically a younger Jordan Burroughs. Not as experienced, but he has the speed and the strength and the size. He's actually bigger than Jordan Burroughs, I believe. So Kyle Dake would have gotten wrecked. And David Carr, guys, if he beat the Olympic silver medalist, David Carr could have probably won gold, and we would be talking about his history way different right now. So shout out David Carr. I think he will be a world champion internationally, and he might win. I think he's probably the front runner to win in USA, unless Levi or Messenbrink. Messenbrink is probably going to join that same weight, so it'll be a tight one for sure. Then we have not the only one-time champion, but I believe when all these guys' careers are done, because there's still a few that are active 4 years later, such as Tarachi, Gable Steveson, and Ferrari. And it's funny because Ferrari is basically starting over, even though he started at the same time as a lot of these guys. He had a big hiatus. Okay, but Shane Griffith is famous for saving a program that in 2025 is one of the best wrestling programs in the nation. Stanford has I think out of the 10 weights they have one guy, nine or 10 guys ranked, and I believe five of them at least are in the top 10 or top 12. It's crazy, and I can't not believe that they were gonna shut down this program because Stanford is a great school, has a great reputation, education wise, sports wise, they're solid. But Shane Griffin put the team on his back literally. And honestly, out of all these guys' wins this year, Shane Griffin is the most impressive. It's probably one of the most impressive single NCAA national titles in history. You can argue it was the number one because he had everything to lose. He had his education to lose. He had his scholarship to lose, friends to lose, home to lose, his future basically. Because what if you cancel the program, he doesn't win, and he decides to be an accountant? We never know Shane Griffith. We never know his story and what he did, and how all his efforts created one of the strongest programs today, in my opinion. But Shane Griffith, in the year that they were going to cancel Stanford wrestling, he did the impossible, and he did the one thing that would save the program. The only thing that could save that program was having a national champion to prove that the program was worth the investment for Stanford. Because they were not going to save it for a semifinalist or a runner-up. They would have been like, yeah, we're okay, but we're going to cancel it. But an NCAA champion from your school, out of all the schools in the nation, only 10 can have champion. Well, only 10 can be winners. And most of the time you have one dominant school, Penn State, taking up 4 slots like they did this year. So really, you have 6 slots for other champions from other schools. And you're telling me Stanford was one of them, the school that was going to cancel their program? Shane Griffith basically gave the Powerball for the future of Stanford wrestling. Shout out to Shane Griffith. And he has a great career. And honestly, guys, people forget how good Shane Griffith is. Shane Griffith could have honestly went back to back and beaten Keegan O'Toole. It was a razor close match. Like that win in itself would have changed Shane Griffith's legacy big time. Also, Shane Griffith, if it wasn't for all these other guys, he probably could have been a 4-time champion, because every year following this win, he lost to eventual national champions. National champions that have multiple titles. In 2022, he lost to Keegan O'Toole, a current 2-time champion that went back to back, and is possibly going to win his 3rd. So he lost to a potential 3-timer. Now, in 2023, he lost to David Carr, who we just spoke about, a 2-timer, and we just went over his crazy resume. So it's not like he lost to some normal collegiate champion that wins it and then retires and gets a normal career, like Ryan Deacon, for example, who won David Carr's weight the following year. Like, nobody remembers Ryan Deacon. He was cool. We liked him for his time, but where's he at now? Nowhere. He could have done something, but he's nowhere. So Shane Griffin lost to Keegan O'Toole, who's an absolute stud, will definitely be in the international scene. He lost to David Carr, who has prestigious family aura, history, and resume. And his last loss in his senior year, who else could he have lost to? Well, it's actually the guy who he's that's standing to his left, Carter Sirachi, who at this moment nobody would have predicted would have been a 4-time national champion, going for his 5th, probably the only person in history who could be a 5-time national champion, excluding AJ Ferrari, if his petition goes well and he wins all the other years that he has left. Because really, it's only Carter Sirachi and AJ Ferrari who can win 5 national titles, because this was the COVID year, 2021, where they won. So it was a free year. And the only 2 guys who were freshmen in this picture are AJ Ferrari and Carter Sirachi. So if AJ Ferrari had not gone through all those troubles and stayed the course, he would have been graduating this year, going for a 5th national title, assuming he won all those other years. And he has the talent to have done that, in my opinion. So back to Shane Griffith. Shane Griffith in his senior year, lost to the 4-time champion Carter Sirachi, and Carter Sirachi beat two champions in his route to the fourth. He beat Mekhi Lewis and Shane Griffith, and it was a close match with Shane Griffith. And Shane Griffith went on to get third place, a very, very impressive third place. And if it was, his third place is an equivalent to a NCAA title in a different weight class, in my opinion, because you have 3 national champions in one weight, and you take third. Basically, you're the NCAA champion in a different bracket, because you only lost to 2 other champions. So you're literally the peak of the peak, but within that peak, you're the bottom of that peak. So either way, you're a champion. And he beat Mekhi Lewis, who was a one-time champion from Virginia Tech. He beat him to get third, and let's not forget, Mekhi Lewis almost beat Carter Sirachi in 2022. If he had just rode him out very well, you never know. Mekhi Lewis could have been a 2-timer, and Sirachi could have been a 3-timer going for his 4th on his 5th year, which would be cool, but it wouldn't be the same. So now, Shane Griffith, legacy, it transcends wrestling because he saved a program and he did awesome. All right, enough glazing to Shane Griffith. I just had to give him the Lord because nobody will probably remember him, but he has to be recognized for what he did during his time. Now, Carter Sirachi, like I mentioned, Carter Sirachi, he's the most unique champion in terms of what you wouldn't expect from a Penn State wrestler. Every Penn State guy is about God, being humble, family. This guy's all Michael Myers. He's here to whoop ass. He trash talks. He's like a UFC fighter, literally. He's made to go to the UFC. He's like a Sean Strickland mixed with, who else? Who else trash talks? I'm going to say, not Paulo Costa, but, yeah, Sean Strickland. And Adesanya, when they trash talk. You know what I mean. He's that type of character. He likes to run his mouth, but not in a bad way. He just likes to talk the talk and he proves it. Carter Sirachi, 4-time national champion. He has beaten very impressive people to get to the finals, let alone win it. He's beaten, in his total career, guys, I think he has the most wins over reigning, defending champions or former champions. He's beaten Parker Ketkaizen. Even though it's not on their official records, we all saw it. It was an exhibition with the same rules. It doesn't count for the records, but it counts in our brains and our history books. He beat Parker Ketkaizen. He beat Shane Griffith and Mekhi Lewis. And he beat Mekhi Lewis multiple times. So, think about that. And if he wins again, he'll probably beat Parker Ketkaizen more than once to win his 5th national title. It would have been very interesting if he was healthy, because he won his 4th on one leg. Credit to Shane Griffin, he was also injured, so it was like kind of a wash. So it's all good. But Carter, if he was healthy for the Olympic trials, man, it would have been very interesting to see 2 teammates, 1 weight class apart, compete in the same weight class to qualify for the Olympics. Who do you think would have won that match? It's very interesting because Aaron Brooks is so good at just taking you down, but Carter Sirachi is so elite in defense, and he can just dominate you from ride you out. Aaron Brooks is also a great rider, but he's more of like a get points, tech, pin, all those, more like a tech guy. So now, shout out to Carter Sirachi. Most likely going to be a 5-timer. Would be awesome to see it happen. Now we have Aaron Brooks right here. Aaron Brooks at this time was also a freshman. He competed in 2020, his true freshman year, but we had the pandemic. So this was the free year where he was technically still a freshman. And not only did he win against a 2-time finalist, I forgot his name, but he faced him his freshman year and senior year. Trent Hidley, yeah. He beat Aaron Brooks beat a Olympic bronze medalist to win his 2nd title. Basically his sophomore season, which was really his junior season, but sophomore season. And then he beat Parker Keckheisen, who would be the champion of that weight class the following year, an undefeated champion who was a finalist for the Hodge Award, competed against Brooks. So they were chasing the same award. That's how good Parker Keckheisen is. And Aaron Brooks demolished him in his third year. There's levels. And Aaron Brooks went on to go compete in the Olympic trials, beat and dethrone David Taylor. He beat so many good guys in that tournament. He beat Zahid Valencia, who arguably, man, you never know. Zahid, man, he got screwed out of that match in the last seconds. And we probably see David Taylor back in those Olympics and maybe gets a gold. You never know. Two-time gold champion, Olympic champion. But Aaron Brooks beat Zahid, he beat David Taylor, and he beat I forgot, Alex Dieringer. I don't know how to say his name, but he was a 3-time national champion in college, also a Hodge winner, I believe. One of those guys that you thought was going to just dominate in the international scene. And Alex Dieringer, even though he was so good in college, he never was on a USA team, guys, for 10-plus years, I believe, since he left college, because he ran into just monsters. So it just goes to show how good these collegiate guys are now currently. Aaron Brooks, first year out of college or immediately right after finishing college, goes on to win an Olympic bronze medal, beating the previous Olympic champion to even get to the Olympics, which was wow. And he had already beaten an Olympic medalist halfway through his college career, so he was already on a level that most Division I champions could never reach. And they could never even dream of. So, man, that's why this class is so special. Because we already have a lot of guys who are proving themselves in the international scene, and some that will prove themselves in the international scene, such as Carter Starachi. He has easily the capabilities to do it. And then we go next to 197, AJ Ferrari, the most polarizing modern wrestler of the modern era. You know, it's crazy because him, Brooks, and Carter were all technically freshmen. Either they're true freshmen. No, I don't even think they were all true freshmen in this year. Maybe, except Ferrari, maybe. Because Carter redshirted in 2020, so then it was his redshirt freshman year for 2021. But that year was a freebie. So it was like a double plus for Carter. Brooks was a freshman, but it was the free COVID freshman year. And then Ferrari was in his first year active in the tournament. So if Ferrari had never gotten into that trouble, guys, we were probably looking at 3 guys who started their careers at the same time. There's been countless of NCAA championship pictures, but we could have had 3 guys in consecutive weights be 4-timers, and 2 of them could have been 5-timers. That is crazy to me. What are the odds? That's why this is this piece right here, let alone especially, and let alone the heavyweight who I'm going to go into, which probably has the best resume. AJ Ferrari could have been one of the greats right now. He probably could have finished. He probably would have been done with college last year, and this year he probably wouldn't have returned unless he would have gone for his 5th. But this is his first year back, technically after a 3-year hiatus. So while everyone else from his class that was to his right has finished or is about to finish, he's literally starting from the bottom once again. He has 4 more years, maybe, but at least 3 more years ahead of him as a 23-year-old. So by the time he's 26, everyone else is going to be moved on with their life. They'll probably have kids, have careers, be way different people. All these guys are going to be different lives, except for like Gable Stevenson, David Carr, Spencer Lee. Carter Sriracha will probably be MMA. RBY will most likely be international for sure. Nick Lee international. Austin O'Connor a coach. Shane Griffin is the only guy who said he was done with wrestling. So, and Gable Stevenson, he's a star. He can probably do whatever he wants. But Ferrari will still be in college 3 years from now. Everyone else from this class will have been long gone. Long gone. And in this picture, nobody was in their senior year. So it's not like this was the end of an era for some. No, they still had a few more years to go. Spencer didn't finish till 2023. Shane didn't finish till 2020, till last year, I believe, actually. Yeah, till last year, 2024. He had 3 more years. O'Connor had a couple more years left. Nick Lee had 1 more year. RBY had 2. Gable, if Gable had continued the path and not taken a break, he would have been finished in 2023. But he took a 2 year hiatus, I believe, a little shorter than Ferrari, and he's gonna finish this year. But Ferrari, the even though Gable took like a 2 year hiatus, he's still going to finish way earlier than Ferrari. By the time Ferrari's out, Gable will have been 2 years out of college. And Gable has been in college for a long time, at least 7 years. He started in 2019, I believe, or 2019, because he was in 2019. He lost that tournament, played or wrestled in 2020, and then he got a free year in 2021, which was this year in the picture. Then he got a free year in 2022, and he won another title there. So that's 3 years of active wrestling, plus the COVID year 2020, which was washed. So he has 4 years of college experience, and then he gets 1 more. And he's using that 1 more 2 years after 2022, or 3 years after 2022. Because if he won in 2022, it's been 3 years. 2 years non-active, but 3 years since he won his title. So wow. And he's still going to finish before Ferrari. That's crazy. So, guys, yeah, Ferrari, he's unique. And he could be another 4-timer. I believe he will be. So shout out to Ferrari. And he's probably going to be WWE or MMA for sure. He has the tangibles to do it. And he's definitely going to be a multiple-time NCAA champion, leaving Shane Griffin as the only one-time champion. But he's a unique one. And now, but not least, Gable Steveson, the most dominant heavyweight in NCAA history. Multiple-time Hodge winner, along with Spencer Lee. It's kind of funny how the greatest big man and the greatest small man of their weights were from the same era technically, because Lee was 2018, Gable started 2019, and Gable's finishing in 2025. Lee finished in 2023, but Gable would have finished in 2023 had he kept going without stopping. So they would have been like right there, same class, same era for sure. But let's get back to Gable. He won an Olympic gold medal after winning his second title in the NCAAs. He went from after winning his first title, I stand corrected, in a matter of 9 months, he went from a really good wrestler to a superstar. By winning the Nationals, he cemented his legacy for his school and in the NCAAs, but he took it to another level beyond NCAAs, which was an Olympic gold for the heavyweight division. That America has not had that heavyweight champion since Snyder, I believe. Yeah, since Snyder, which is impressive. No, it's actually Snyder won a gold in a weight class below. So I need to look at that up, but Gable is arguably the greatest heavyweight America's ever had for freestyle wrestling, and he was only 21. That's how dominant Gable is. And he's teching fools in college that are beasts. The current reigning defending champion from Penn State, and when you have a champion from Penn State, you're not talking about a one-time champ. When you have a champion from Penn State, you're talking about how many he's going to win in his career. It's not always only going to win one. Like RBY, Nick Lee, Carter Strachey, Aaron Brooks, all those guys have multiple titles. So, Gable Steveson is so heavily favored versus the current reigning defending heavyweight champion from Penn State, Greg Kirkland. And Greg Kirkland is a beast. He dominated everyone last year. He was just on another level. But even Greg, even though he's a tier above everyone else, Gable is tiers above Greg. So, Gable Steveson beat international competition in 2021 to win gold in the Olympics and an NCAA title in that same year, and followed it up with another NCAA title and then retired temporarily. We all knew he was gonna come back. It wasn't over for him. He was gonna come back for sure. I just knew it. But either way, that is why this is the greatest wrestling class of Division 1 champions in history. So many guys who are winners who went on to create legacies only a few dream of. Some with their names exceeding their wrestling, like David Carr, Spencer Lee, Gable Steveson, and then some who are just known for controversy, like a little bit of Carter Strachey, definitely AJ Ferrari. And you have humble guys like O'Connor, who is already forgotten, to be honest, even though he's a two-time national champ. It's crazy contrast how David Carr is so relevant, even though he has the same titles as O'Connor. Maybe it's because O'Connor doesn't wrestle internationally. He's just a coach. But even then, Nick Lee's more relevant than O'Connor, in my opinion. But it's because he's in Penn State. Then you have RBY, who is very popular, but now he's kind of like not talked about as much ever since he took that loss to Vito, and he doesn't represent USA, but he's still a beast. And then Shane Griffin, who will definitely be forgotten for his wrestling, like just his career, like his matches, I believe, but he will never be forgotten of what he did in a certain point in time and how he changed an entire school's future and program in athletics. That's why he'll be remembered. He saved careers, educations for future athletes that wanted to attend Stanford. So, man, memorable class, so much history, and I'm sure a lot of these guys will become mixed martial arts champions, Olympic gold medalists once again, or new ones. Just straight up beasts. And that's it, guys.